Welcome everyone to the Indian Express newspaper analysis of October 8th, 2022. I will explain this newspaper in three steps. First is why is the news? Second is what is the news? And third is what can we expect in the future about the news. So let's get started with the first news, which is name your successor. Law Minister writes to CJI. Window for collegium he heads closing. So first of all, why is this news? Because the current Chief Justice of India, who is UU Lalit, he is going to retire after a month on November 8th. So government has initiated a process for appointment of the next Chief Justice of India, and that is why government has asked the current Chief Justice of India to recommend that who will be his successor. So what occurred? Today the Honorable Minister of Law and Justice sent a letter to the Honorable Chief Justice of India for sending his recommendations for appointment of his successor. So government has asked to Chief Justice of India to send his recommendation who he wants to be his next successor. So as per the memorandum of procedure governing the appointment of the members of the higher judiciary, so according to the procedure, how is the Chief Justice of India is appointed? So the appointment to the office of Chief Justice of India should be of the senior most judge of Supreme Court. So whoever is the senior judge of the Supreme Court, he is appointed as a CJI. Now what is the current situation? Who is the senior most judge? Justice DY is the senior most judge of the Supreme Court. So if he is appointed, then he will have a tenure of 2 years until November 10th, 2024. So this is not for sure. Overall this will depend on who CJI, current CJI Lalit, who is UU Lalit, who he recommends. So we will see in the future. The news will come who is the next CJI. Now coming to our second news is ex-CJI named head of panel on SC status, scheduled caste status for Dalit converts. So first of all, why is this news? So this news has came in September 19 and 20. So what was the cause of this news? This news is because currently India does not have rule to include religions such as Muslims and Christian into Dalit list. So scheduled caste list does not have any person from Christian and Muslim religion. It is only for Hindu, then Buddhism, and then for Sikh persons. So that is why there is a commission. There was an decision that a commission will be appointed. So this commission has been appointed. Now an ex-CJI who is KG Balakrishnan, he has been made the member, in fact the head of this commission. So center has appointed a 3-member commission who is headed by former Chief Justice of India KG Balakrishnan to consider the possibility of granting SC status to new persons who have historically belonged to the scheduled caste, which means a person who have now converted themselves to other caste but were historically Dalits. So they were born in scheduled caste, but they have converted to religion other than Hinduism, Buddhism and Sikhism, which means it can be called directly that Dalit Christians and Muslims. So the Constitution, Scheduled Caste Order 1950, according to this, no person professing a religion different from Hinduism, Sikhism or Buddhism can be deemed to be a member of scheduled caste. So according to this constitution, only Hindu, Sikh and Buddhist, these 3 Dalit members are in the list of scheduled caste. So what is now government, in fact other communities are trying to do? They're trying to make other religions Christian and Muslim to get included in this list. So the commission will also examine the implication of any decision in this matter on existing scheduled caste. So what will be the implication if the list gets updated, which means if other members, Christian and Dalit Muslims, get themselves in the list of scheduled caste, then what will be the implication on existing scheduled caste and the changes they go through on converting to other religions in terms of custom, tradition, social and other discrimination and deprivation. So what is the current situation of Christian and Dalit Muslims, which means how is their custom changed, how is their tradition, what is their social condition, and if they are discriminated, deprivated or not. So this will be examined by this commission. Now the Dalits who have converted to Christianity and Islam still face discrimination and atrocities. So this is according to National Dalit Christian Watch governing body member. He called that they are currently facing discrimination and atrocities. So he say that while we continue to be treated as Dalits and they face untouchability, but what is the situation is that they do not get advantage of reservation. So they are facing same conditions like Dalit but with no advantages of reservation. Also they have no protection by the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act. So what can we expect in the future? So according to this committee, they will examine it and they have a time period of 2 years, which means 2024. After 2024, there will be the results of this commission. Then according to the fresh parameters, it will be decided that whether these communities will be given reservation or not. So this was it for the first page. Now coming to our second is the city page. Again more of city page. Then comes government and politics news. This is also more of political news here. Then comes Express Network. Here one news is important, that is India rights of people of Xinjiang must be respected. So first of all, why this news has come? Because last day 7th October there was a voting. There was a voting on the UN resolution that whether China is discriminating, whether China is preventing the human rights of the people of Xinjiang or not. Who are these people? These are Uyghur Muslims, and it is called that these Muslims are facing human rights deprivation. So there was a UNSC resolution and countries voted. So 11 countries abstained from voting and one of them was India also. So what is the India's take? Why it abstained from voting? So India called that we hope that the relevant party will address the situation objectively and properly. So he called that human rights of these Muslims should be respected and guaranteed, and he called that government must address the situation properly. So why did India abstain from voting when it is trying to say that human rights must be respected? Because he said that it was in line with the long held practice in India's foreign policy. So according to India's foreign policy, India do not vote on country specific resolution. So he said that India remains committed to upholding all human rights, which means India is committed. India wants to uphold all human rights, but it feels that this country specific resolution voting does not simply work. And he said that India's vote is in line with its long held position that country specific resolutions are never helpful. So voting on either side will not simply help. India favors a dialogue to deal with such issues. So that is why it abstained from voting. It called for dialogue, which means you have to talk to solve issue. So what can we expect in the future? More resolutions coming in. And also there is a call that officer, a UN Office of High Commissioner on Human Rights, they have to go to Xinjiang in order to assess the condition of these Uyghur Muslims. But you have seen that a lot of UN bodies have visited China and they found nothing. In case of in case of virus originating also. So WHO team went to China, but it found nothing because China did not simply allow the examiners to get access to their data. So same will go on with this Human Rights Commissioner also. Coming to our next page, here also no such news is given. Next come the economy page. So rupee drops below 82 on recession fears, crude spike. So first of all, why is this news? Because rupee is going down and to a level unprecedented, which means we have not seen this much downfall of rupee. It has gone now to 82. So rupee slid past 82 level to fall to a fresh record of 82.33 per US dollar, which means $1 is now 82.33 rupee. And what is the cause? First of all, is a global recession. Every country is now getting into recession. For in fact, UK, the Bank of England of UK have called that UK is now currently facing recession. We can see this in China also USA. Major economies are going into recession, so this has an impact on India also. Plus crude spike, which means the prices of crude are enormous. And why these crudes are enormous? Because Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, which is OPEC, and when its allies are included, for example its allies are Russia, then this OPEC plus its allies is referred to as OPEC plus, and this has announced to cut oil production by 2 million barrels per day. You see, already there is a high demand of oil, plus there is less production of oil. Also there are sanctions that Iran and Venezuela cannot export their oil to other countries. So there is a demand and supply is less. And in spite of this condition, OPEC Plus announced that they will cut oil production. Why they are cutting? Because they want more profit. So if the prices will increase, their profits will increase. So reduction in oil production will increase prices of crude oil further, which in turn raises concern over inflation and rate hikes. So if oil prices increases, then inflation will increase, and when inflation will increase, it is very obvious that global banks, for example Federal Reserve, will hike its rate again, and this has an impact on India. Whenever the Federal Reserve increases its rate hike, then the rupee depreciates. So this is the main cause. Two main causes are there. Now next come the news. Is CCI order new probe against Google? So why is this news? So you see, when you go to news, in fact Google News, or whenever you go to Google search, you write some topic and you want to see the news. There comes a list, a lot of websites. You mostly click on websites that are on number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 or number 5. You do not go more down. So this is the pattern that is used by Google. If the company that is making news, if you want to be on the number 1 or number 2 on the search page, then they have to share their news content, and Google pays them with money. But what has happened is that there is unfair money sharing with the companies. So that is why Competition Commission has ordered the Competition Commission has ordered another detailed probe, which means there will be an investigation against Google for alleged unfair revenue sharing terms with respect to news content. So it will be investigated whether Google have shared their revenue in unfair manner or not. So News Broadcaster and Digital Association has alleged that its members are forced to provide their news content to Google in order to prioritize their web links in the search engine result page. So in order to prioritize their web link, which means in order to get to the first, second, third, fourth position in the vertical manner, so they have to provide news content. So as a result, what happens is that Google free rides on the content of the member without giving them adequate compensation as per the compliant. So Google gets its news, it shows it news, but it does not pay as per the sharing terms. So it does not follow the sharing terms. It does not give them adequate compensation. So what is the future? These allegations will be examined, and then it will be investigated that whether these allegations are true or not. So next come the word page, which is Biden got clamps down on China's access to chip tech. Why is this news? This is a news because China is going way high. So America is in the fear that China can beat America in its technology. And what is true is that China is a major copier of technology of America. It simply makes copies of American technology. So innovators are American, copiers are China. So that is why China does not want to share its technologies. So this is to limit the scale of semiconductor and other key chip making equipment. So what does this mean? It means that China is a major manufacturer of chip, and it makes chip using equipments of America, which means when chips are made, at least some equipments are needed to make that chip. So these equipments are American. So that is why Americans do not will to share these equipments, so that their chip making will get reduced. So this is a step aimed at crippling Beijing's ability to access critical technologies that are needed for everything from supercomputing to guiding weapons. To slow the progress of Chinese military programs. So this is in fact to slow down Chinese everything, military programs which uses supercomputing to model nuclear blast, to guide hypersonic weapon. Chips are used everywhere. So in order to make these China systems weak, America does not want to share its technology. So this comes an end to the newspaper. Now you can read this newspaper by yourself as well.